Hello everyone. So in this video, we are going to see an example of positions detail keyword with count parameter for a list of stocks. All right. So the restriction requirement for this particular keyword would be to take entry on the buy side in the first two stocks that meet the entry on the buy side, and each stock can enter only once on the buy side. And for the sell side, the criteria would be to take entry on the sell side in the first two stocks that meet the entry on the sell side, and each stock can enter only once on the sell side. All right. So let's just see how to construct this particular formula. So before that, we can also just see the trades. So I have a list of stocks that are there in the list, and based on that, whichever is the first stock to take an entry on either long and the short side will be the one that will be taken, and then for the first two trades it will take the trades and it will stop taking. All right. So for example, as you can see over here, Tata Motors took the short entry on in this particular position first. After that, it was also the first stock to basically meet the entry criteria on the buy. So this is basically one count on the buy side and one count on the sell side. All right. And then after that, if you see Infi, this is basically the second count of the stock in the list. So Infi was the second company to meet the entry criteria on the short side. So this was the second entry and exit. After that, it has not taken any trades because our entry criteria and exit criteria is such that it will take trade only once, and it will take trade on each side for only two stocks. All right. So first one was on the short side was Tata Motors, and the second stock on the short side was Infi. Now let's see Reliance. Reliance was the second stock to enter on the long side. So that's the reason why this has gone long on the long side, but it has not taken any short entry because it has our requirement was that only two entries will be there on the long side and only two entries will be there on the short side. So to again see the trades, Tata Motors first short trade and first long trade. So that particular count is done. After that, Infi was the second short trade and Reliance was the second long trade. After this, the criteria got completed, and that's the reason why the strategy stopped taking any more trades. All right. So we will see how to build this condition. Sorry. So over here, I will just go to the edit section of the strategy. So as you can see in positions detail, over here, the entry criteria is very simple like the rest of the stocks. First of all, we have selected this stock list, trending stocks July, in which we have added suppose four stocks, right? TCS, Tata Motors, Infi and Reliance. And we are going to take trade in the first two trades on each side. So that's the reason why whenever this is a simple entry criteria that we have for almost all videos, that the trade should be between 9:25 and 2:58 p.m. The net quantity traded instrument name of 111 and 211. There should be no open position in both the sets. All right. And there should be an upside crossover on a 1 minute candle on a 5-2 parameter for super trend. All right. So close is greater than super trend on a 1 minute basis on a 5-2 parameter, and close is less than super trend in the previous to previous candle, that is -2 candle on a 5-2 parameter. And this is important here. Here you have to use two positions details in order to build this criteria. So the first one is over here. So the first one is positions detail entry buy all count, and we will not select the underlying in this case. So count is less than number 2 because we want to take entry only 2 times, right, on the buy side. And we are also going to use positions detail entry B all count, but in this case we are selecting the list that we want to trade in, and it should be equal to number 0. All right. It's important that both these formulas are built together because this time it's slightly a complex condition where we are going to take entry only for the one time in the first two stocks of the list that meet the entry in the buy side criteria. All right, so this is for the buy side, and based on that we are taking entry in the list of stocks. All right, the quantity is 10 on the buy side, and similarly whenever the trend reverses on the super trend side, whenever the close is below the super trend and it's basically a downside crossover from -2 candle to -1 candle, that is the time when it will exit the stock. And whenever it exits the stock from the buy side, it should also take the long trade, right? So that is the reason why this is basically when it exits from the long side to the short side, it should basically take the short trade as well. So that's the reason why we are checking net quantity of 111 and 211 over here also, and this is basically nothing but the similar to the exit criteria of the first set, where it's basically the downside crossover. -1 is less than -1 super trend, close is less than super trend, and -2 is the super trend close is basically greater than super trend in the -2 candle. And over here it's important to again make sure that you build this kind of a formula, which is an AND condition in this case, where in order to negate the requirement of a negative value, since it is sell, right? So sell is in negative, so we are using absolute keyword. So under absolute keyword we are using positions detail, and on the entry side we directly use the keyword like this, right? Positions detail entry by all count. But in this case, in order to nullify the requirement for a negative number, for since it is a sell, what we have done is absolute positions detail entry sell all count without selecting the underlying over here in the first part and less than number 2. And in this case we are taking positions detail entry as all count is equal to trending stocks July by selecting the list name is equal to number 0. All right, and this is when we are taking the short position in quantity of 10 stocks. All right, so over here you will see it's basically nothing but the upside crossover. So whenever it crosses from upside from uptrend to downtrend, it will basically take the short position, and whenever it crosses on the upside, it should take the long trend. But since because of these restrictions, as we can see, what has happened over here is that first it took the Tata Motors entry on the short side. All right, after that luckily for Tata Motors, it was also the first stock to meet the entry criteria on the buy side. So this two counts, one count on the short side is completed and one count on the long side is completed by Tata Motors itself. If it was some other stock that from the list that would have met the criteria, it would have taken that trade. So for one count on short side and one count on long side is over here, and now there is only one count pending on the buy side and only one count pending on the sell side. So that's the reason why Infi filled that requirement of the short side entry, that is the count number 2 got filled over here on the short side, and the count number 2 got filled over here on the buy side from Reliance, and then after that it has stopped taking any of the trades. All right, I hope this was clear, and I hope this will be useful in building your conditions. Thank you.